Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to Comic Book Nostalgia. I'm CB Nostalgia, and we have a massive report on Madam Web. Well, as many of you know, Madam Web is currently in production, and one of the big stories about this movie is how large the cast is. We haven't been given very many details about who these various characters are until today. And the team over at the Cosmic Circus has broken some major news, and wow, is this going to be quite the movie. Now, as we always say, this didn't come directly from Sony or anybody into production, so we want to take it with a grain of salt, but the team over there has been hitting a lot of home runs, and it keeps me pretty excited and makes complete sense. This new report reveals many of the Madam Web supporting characters, and yes, the name Parker does indeed come up. So I thought we could take a couple minutes to talk about the report, dive into what's happening, and who various actresses and actors are playing. Now, before we dive into this though, I want to warn you guys, it's very unclear what Sony intends to reveal before Madam Web arrives in theaters, and some of this could indeed be major spoiler territory. So if you don't want to know anything about the movie, make sure you click away. I don't want to ruin your viewing experience. So first up is Dakota Johnson, and despite what we've seen in the many set photos, apparently Dakota Johnson is indeed playing the Cassandra Webb version of Madam Web. Now, there has been a ton of speculation she could be Julia Carpenter. She even had that red jacket like Julia wears. But there's a reason she's not playing Julia Carpenter, because another actress is playing that character in the movie. We'll get to that in a second. Now, we saw some set photos yesterday of Dakota's character having some problems with her legs, and this does align with the Madam Web story in the comics, where she ends up on life support, a life support system that resembles a web, and her psychic abilities give her access to the web of life and destiny. This appears to be something that will be important to the film. Now, the second big reveal is Sydney Sweeney, and Sydney Sweeney is going to play Julia Carpenter. Julia Carpenter was the second Madam Web after Cassandra was killed by Kraven the Hunter, and she once held the title as Spider-Woman. Now, there's no indication that she will suit up in this film, but I do feel like it's a pretty strong possibility. Now, with the film being set in the early 2000s, it does draw some questions on how Julia will factor into this, and whether it'll be a flashback and flash forward thing with her being the next in line for Madam Web. But in any case, we are going to get a live-action version of Spider-Woman on screen in the form of Julia Carpenter. And she won't be alone. And that's because Celeste O'Connor is also playing a version of Spider-Woman, and that would be Maddie Franklin. Now, Maddie Franklin is another one of those 90 characters that's kind of fallen by the wayside in Marvel Comics, but she does have fairly close ties to some of the other characters listed here. She even filled in as Spider-Man for a little while, though the source of her powers is a little more interesting than the classic radioactive spider. She actually got her powers through a mystic ceremony known as the Gathering of Five. And in the comics, it was later revealed that Maddie's abilities have basically been stolen from previous Spider-Women, so we'll have to see how all that shakes out. That brings us to Isabel Merced, and Isabel Merced is playing Anya Corazon. Now, Anya Corazon is also known as Spider-Girl, and her powers are also completely rooted in the magic and mystical side of Spider-Man's world. Actually, in fairly recent years, she's been a pretty big part of many multiverse adventures featuring various spider heroes. And there's even some rumblings that there could be a spin-off focused on this character going down the road, but we'll have to wait and see. Remember, we're seeing a lot of stuff set in the 2000s, but it's unclear right now if the whole movie will be set in that era or if we'll be moving back and forth, and that's really where Anya could possibly play in. Now, the last two casts are where we get to a couple of Parkers. First up, Adam Scott. And Adam Scott is playing Ben Parker. That's right, the Severance star is playing Uncle Ben, but clearly this story takes place many years before he's eventually gunned down by that burglar, leading to the birth of Spider-Man. Now, so far in some of the photos, we've seen him as a paramedic, and he appears to work with Cassandra Webb. So that's a fairly interesting choice for Sony to make. With this set in the early 2000s, perhaps it's a bit of an origin story for him, but Emma Roberts' character kind of throws that up in the air, because Emma is playing Mary Parker, Peter's mother. Now, we don't know if Ben's brother, Richard Parker, Peter's father, or his future wife, May, will be part of the film. However, his future sister-in-law, Mary, is going to show up, and in the film, as we've seen, she is pregnant. Actually, she is pregnant with Peter Parker. What the speculation is that the web of life and destiny is going to come under attack, with someone or something looking to remove Spider-Man from this reality before he can become a superhero. This is an incredibly interesting way for Sony Pictures to explain why there's no Peter Parker in their Spider-Man world, and I actually am starting to wonder if this is exactly what this movie is setting up. But this hasn't been confirmed at all. It's kind of speculation, but all the pieces are in place, and I do think Sony is looking for a logical reason to explain the absence of Spider-Man, and this totally would be it. Quite honestly, this totally sounds like a Terminator-esque movie where all these spider heroes are trying to protect Mary Parker from some outside benevolent force that's attempting to kill her off. I totally love the idea. Now, all of these reveals are a pretty big deal, and the fact that we're getting so many variations of Spider-Woman and Spider characters in this movie is going to be awesome. Quite honestly, the casting I'm most excited about is Sydney Sweeney as Julia Carpenter. She is an up-and-coming star, and I really do think Sony probably has some long-term plans for her. Obviously, we're going to cover everything Madam Web moving forward. All of this is huge reveals, and I suspect we might be getting even more details in the coming weeks, so make sure you hit that like and subscribe button to not miss any of the details. But until we know more, what do you guys think? What do you think of all these character reveals for the upcoming Madam Web movie? And do you think Sony is setting up a universe where Spider-Man is never born, and that's the whole purpose of this movie? Tell me what you think in the comments below. If you like this video, make sure you hit like, click subscribe, and if you don't ring that bell, you won't get any updates. Peace.